Hello, hi, ciao tutti. Welcome to the Select Series brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Ablosi, also known as Ablosima, also known as Baba Sakata, formerly known as Priestess Gorgeous, ad nauseam, etc., ad infinitum. I was sent today to talk about Finding Peace Part 1. This will be the first part of a who knows how long little mini series. So this was a question in response to staying out of trouble, confronting karma, really standing up for oneself, and even like walking away from conflicts, not getting into fights, but when there's conflict or like a grievance, literally a grievance, not a grievance, and a grievance, meaning something that continues to be labored bemoaned, not something that was according to one time, place, person, or location. It's a compound, like a complex compound trauma almost. So, peace. Peace is not what the New World teaches, because when they talk about resting in peace, when they talk about being in peace, they're literally talking about the colonizers, the controllers. I don't mean colonizers, because I'm going to leave that alone for another time. I mean controllers, okay? Because even sometimes black people own slaves. And, European slavery wasn't the first slavery. Okay, so let's just walk away from that for now. So the controller, they don't want your soul and your spirit to be intact, especially not for eternity, because then you're in your own power. They want to give you Jesus and take away your Christ, meaning they want to give you your lower instinctual nature, that part that registers shame, that part that registers guilt. And they want to take away that part that registers self-worth and value, strength, courage, and wisdom, ultimately giving you faith, hope, and optimism. They want to remove that so that the men or the future colonizer controller will go ahead and perpetuate the abuse, and so that the women or the feminine or the poor, doesn't matter, will go ahead and be subjugated, become victimized, and have this systemic, endemic, pandemic of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual slavery. And they want you to teach that to your children, especially your daughters. They want you to live in your own shit. Okay? So what is peace truly? Peace is when you are fulfilled inside and it's stillness inside, where you can, okay, how does a body of water respond to a pebble? The answer is appropriately. The ripples will be according to the size of the pebble or whatever disturbance, and then it will return back to its previous state, save the mass of the pebble that you threw in. It's just like the bathtub. It's the same amount of water, even though the water level will look higher because now you're in the tub. So think of yourself as this body of water. Can you perceive the depths of that body of water if the top of that water is turbulent, if the top of that water is not still? Herein lies the beginning of the definition of peace as I teach it. There's going to need to be some things, some processes, some thoughts alive in you in order to remain at peace. And honestly, foolish people are much more peaceful. Smart people can lose peace very easily. It doesn't mean that if you're highly intelligent, you will never find peace. But that's not far from the truth, especially in the New World. Okay? So I want to give you a little bit of a imprinting from the future sermon, whoever knows whenever that comes out. But it's very similar to strength, courage, and wisdom. But take a step back from strength, courage, and wisdom. You cannot have strength, courage, and wisdom without having self-worth and value. The self-worth and value, you will never know that you're truly having self-worth and value until you know what's alive inside. You know your own worth. But see, this never comes until you understand standards and boundaries. Okay, so you can never even, I'm saying the word never, and I don't like that word, but I'm going to run with it because it's coming through. I'm very conscientious of my language. It's coming through, so let's use it. So it's difficult. You can never have standards and boundaries until you understand your standards, your pickiness, your expectations, okay? And then your boundaries become clear, okay? But see, these boundaries, these standards, they don't really ever need to be communicated to another person, place, or thing. However, sometimes you will find that you're in a union, you're in a relationship, you're in some type of intimate exchange, intimacy, intimacy, okay? Intimacy is vulnerability, openness, and depth. There's a few more little aspects of it, but let's use that for now. So if you're experiencing intimacy in some type of union, you're going to want to contribute to what's alive in that person. So to contribute to what's alive in that person, you're probably going to want to learn their standards and boundaries, and you're probably going to want them to learn your standards and boundaries so that you guys can grow together and not grow apart. So herein lies this conflicts and being at peace. When you're carrying something alive in you that's making the surface of your body of water turbulent and you can no longer see the bottom, you can no longer tell if your standards are being met. You can no longer tell if your boundaries are being respected or honored. You're no longer aware of how picky you need to be, of how realistic your expectations are. Now you're in this phantom, amorphous, amalgamous, psychic wasteland. You see how that can disturb your peace? So if you don't know why you're agitated, something's disturbing your peace. Normally it's called an open loop. Some unmitigated objection, some unexpressed objection, some unrealistic expectation. Well, expectations are just premeditated resentments. So if you hot and bothered and running around, cursing up under your breath, running around, walking around, not knowing why you agitated, and you don't know what your needs are around the situation, you're not in peace. You're not peaceful. So peaceful to me is full of stillness. And it does require you staying out of fights, but see, conflict breeds change. Adversity is a catalyst for success. So harmony is a contrast to peace. It's a parallel, really. Okay? Harmony is when everybody is vibrating together, growing together. Peace is when you're harmonious within yourself. See, again, how does a body of water respond to a pebble? When you throw the pebble in the body of water, what happens? It ripples, meaning the surface of the water is no longer still, and then it returns to its previous state, save the mass of the pebble. So the water will go just a little tiny bit higher, and if it's an actual lake or like river or something, you can't tell. But let's just use a lake or pond, something that's still. So, there's different types of bodies of water. Let's talk about the ones that are not moving. These ponds. Some ponds have rocks on the bottom. Some ponds have lots of life forms at the bottom. It may take a moment to take part of that infrastructure ecosystem. And you may never be able to go into the depths if the surface of the water is not still. And if you're not able to get the surface of the water to become still, you're going to need to explore the depths. But you see, you need a guiding light. So this is in response to that karma. This is what the how to find peace. This is in response to that karma video I just put up, perspective on karma. Because you do need to navigate through your experiences. Sometimes some random person, place, or thing. Maybe it's not a pebble. Maybe it's an acorn that fell off the oak tree that's hanging above this body of water. I think acorns float. But you see, still, you're going to have ripples and they're going to be even. And they're going to be appropriate according to the size of whatever pebble or acorn fell into the water. And then guess what? It's going to return to stillness, to its previous state. So if you're not returning to your previous state, that's really when you're not at peace. When you don't have what it takes, when you don't have enough inside to push the outside out or back, push it back, step it back, that's when you're really not at peace. If something gets into your body of water, if something gets into your ecosystem and it causes a muck, Unless you are some clam and that's a piece of sand and you're turning that into a pearl, unless you're some type of carbon and you under tons of pressure for tons of years and that's turning into a diamond, that is unacceptable disturbance. And you see, you can accept a disturbance and not be affected by it. That's also a part of peace. This is called being neutral, detached, and observant. When you can go through something and not be affected by something, or if you are affected by something, you're going through something and you're growing through it. Okay? So, fighting is not good. It isn't. Because fighting is when one person has an agenda and they think that their agenda, or one person plus a thing has an agenda and they think that their agenda is better than the other person plus a thing. Conflict is just when there's a non-agreement. And truly, the definition of conflict is two people in the same county. Okay? You need a little bit of friction, just like your bowels have a little bit of friction. If there wasn't some bacteria in the lining of your bowels, how would you excrete? How would you eliminate? But you might be peaceful. You might not have an upset stomach. You might be fairly regular. What happens when you're not? You take an inventory. What did I eat? What did I do? For me, stress. If there's too many malignant, toxic people around me, my stomach will let me know. If somebody hurt my feelings and I don't process and purge that before I go to sleep, I will wake up with chest pains. If someone's on my mind and I'm not choosing to pick up the phone, I will wake up with a headache. Okay, well, I'm an oracle. I'm extra sensitive. There's a reason I'm Serene Priestess of Losi. You can be the same too. And honey, trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. I ain't no better. I might be special, but I ain't no better. You hearing me? So this is the beginning of peace. Peace is when you're harmonious within yourself. When you can return to stillness no matter what is going on the outside. And yes, if there's a conflict, conflict breeds change. Adversity is the catalyst for success. However, you cannot exist at that place forever. Harmony in business, harmony in life, harmony in unions, harmony in relationships is wonderful, fantastic. It's just there's not a lot of growth there. So returning to peace is prioritizing your self needs first. Because if you're not whole inside, can you really be helping anyone else? If there's no water, if there's no sustenance in your own chalice, in your own cup, can you really be filling anybody else's cup? Also, peace is understanding that there needs to be some type of acceptance. Michael Beckwith always said, hey, yo, if the outsides are never going to change, what needs to change on the inside in order for the situation to be okay or for you to at least be at peace, meaning acceptance. That is peace, acceptance of the outsides, because you know you can take refuge and sanctuary in your insides. And when you can't, go to prayer. I will come with more, but this is part 1. Peace be with you. My email is in the show notes. Take good care. Talk to you soon. Much love.